Hi, Kaustubh.
Am I audible?
You can hear me, right?
Yeah. Am I audible?
No, you're not audible. I can't hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
Audible now?
Recording in progress.
Yeah, I'm not able to hear you yet.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, now it is okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. So thanks for joining in. Now, let us revise this one because a little bit as we are doing. Sorry. So class A and class B and class C, which we saw, right? So class A is all about, say, if it is 1 to 26, right? This is what we saw,
Yes.
right? Now, class B is 128 to 191, right?
Yes.
And then class C is 192 to 223. And then afterwards, class D and class E. So this class D is for multicast purpose that already we have seen. And then again, class E is for specifically for the research purpose. So this type of actually research, so for mainly for defense also, all that research IP addresses will be assigned to them. Okay, so that will not be given to us. Okay, now, as I said, 127 is a lookup IP address. So lookup IP address is what? That is where we can actually test and check if our the IP addresses are or the code is working properly or not. For example, let me actually give you the example over here. I'm saying test, right? Suppose I have created a web application, right? That is in Python, or let me take it as PHP, right? So in PHP, when you are creating this, you will be having a web server, right? Now all the code will be pushed over here, but I need to test this over here, right? Before I push it on the production, right? So what they have done over here is this 127 address, they have fixed it for local address, right? As a local address where we can use it and test this whole application, right? So hence that is why this 127 address is not given within the networking addresses.
Okay.
Okay. So this thing again you should remember, and they can ask you. CCA can ask you, and that is why I am just repeating this as I said yesterday also, that I will be repeating a little bit and then moving forward, right? Now, class C, as I saw, if you see over here, the range is given. Class C, the range is 192 to 223, right? Let's remember this. This is very, very important to remember, right? So class B again will be 128 to 99. And then class A is 1 to 126. This is what we have seen, correct? Now, here if you see the IP address is 192. If it is 192, it is within the class C, right? Because here it is starting from 192. Okay.
Hmm.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
So then
Yes,
if
yes.
I have this one 255, 255, 255 and 255, so the host, the exact
Hmm.
host which I can create is 254. How? Like this way, right? So
Hmm.
if you see over here, how many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3,
8
4, 5.
zeros.
So 2 raised to 8
Hmm.
minus 2. That is,
Yes.
then it will be 254 rooms
254.
or host that
54.
can get. Yeah. So host
Hmm.
means what? Means IP address 168.2.100 starting from 0 till
0
254,
253.
right? Sorry,
253.
253. Yes, 253. Uh, So this is the range till which I can create the IP addresses and the host, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So this is again the first thing you should remember. Okay. Now let us move again back over here. Now, if you see this, the subnet mask is 22552525. So this is again subnet masking means the range, right, till which all this network addresses can accommodate, right? So that is the
Hmm.
again the second difference. So this networking address and this gateway should be same.
Same.
Now, why same? Let me give you a quick example over here. Suppose I am living in, say, Maharashtra, right? And
Hmm.
I am having my office or I have an organization which is in Pune, and the area is X, right? So if
Hmm.
I want X and I want to connect to all the laptops within X, then the network should be this one.
Yes.
Okay, so this is called as a gateway.
Hmm.
If this address is different, then I will not be able to connect to my this network within the
Network.
organization.
Hmm.
Right? But if I want to connect outside, right, outside to another organization, then I need
Hmm.
to understand the gateway of that organization, right? And I should be connecting within this gateway. Let's not go to that
Right.
complicated stuff, but let us understand that if IP addresses and gateway are the same, then the network is possible. Otherwise, the network is not possible. You will not be able to establish the network, right? Now,
Hmm.
here, when it is class C, the differentiation will be like this way.
Yes. In host address.
Why? Because we need to find out the hosts. So if
Number
it
of
is
hosts.
our 8 over here, then this will be 2 raised to 8 minus 254. So 254 hosts can be created. Clear?
Yes.
I think this is now clear, right? Very, very clear. Okay.
Hmm. Yes.
Now, next to go to the, okay. Now, we have already discussed that this is converted into binary form, right? That we know. Now, if I want
Hmm.
to find out now this first 0, this will be the first network ID, but our valid IP addresses will start from 100.1 till 254, right? And our broadcast ID will be this one, that is 0.255, right?
Okay.
So this is how we can find out, and this again the questions can also be asked in CCNA, that if the network ID is this one and the IP address or the subnet marks is this one, so what will be the broadcast ID? So this will be the broadcast ID, right? So just remember
Okay.
that one. Now, this is again 24. Why 24? Because it has already 24 octets over here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That is why it is /24. So I can also have this IP addresses created within using this 24. Now this is basically used for subnetting. Not how when we will reach to subnetting, we will understand it more. But right now, just understand /24. That's it, right? Okay. Now this was all about the class C and class B. Now within the class B, this is again segregated within from here. Right? So this you have to remember. Class C will be segregated from within the first host. Class B will be segregated within the second host. Right? Now, if I say this is in the class B because we will see the first network ID, that is 172. Yes,
Right.
it comes under this one. So it is in the class B, right? Now, how much will be the host over here? Because, so if I convert this, okay, let me convert this. Okay, you can see over here, right? So 8 plus 8, that is 16, right?
16.
So 2
Yes.
raised
2
to
raised to
16.
16 minus 2.
Yeah, so this will be
Yes.
the hosts, the number of hosts which I can create over here. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, class A. Class A will be again differentiated with the third one from here. Okay. So first I will look to the IP address. Yes, it is within this one range, right? And that is why it is within the class A. Okay. Now, this is again the hosts, which is 000. And this is again this one 0. This gateway and this gateway are the same. We can create a network, right? Now, 8 plus 8 plus 8, 24. 2 raised to 24 minus 2. This is a number of hosts which I can create using the class A, right? So these are all the segregation of the IPs within different classes, right? Now, what is subnetting? So if you see over here, this is again the number of hosts which I can create when I'm using this kind of IP addresses. And the subnet mask is like this way. If this is the case, then what I can do is, suppose if I am having only, okay, I have an organization, right? And there are 10 computers or 10 laptops over here with me. And if I am creating the network between the 10 networks, then what is going to happen? Right? I will be easily assigning all the network IPs to this 10 IP addresses, but 2097150 minus 10 network means it is a wastage of 2097140, right? I am reserving all these IP addresses, correct? So to avoid this kind, and if I am reserving this IP addresses, all this means unnecessary, all these IP addresses are not being useful to anyone, right? And you know, all the IP addresses as per what has been decided should be unique, right? So these many unique IP addresses are blocked within this organization. So what they have been doing is, using this subnet mask, we can actually break down this such number of network resources and then create or differentiate or segregate or divide this number of IPs, okay, and save these many IPs from this network. So what I will do is, I will just break into this 10 IP addresses, okay, use only 10 IP addresses and allow these number of IP addresses to be used by other one else, right, for other work, or can also be used within other network, right? So this is called as, in short, as subnetting. Clear?
Sir, can you please repeat from when we have to create 10 networks? So I didn't get from that. 2097150 minus 10.
Okay. Suppose
Hmm.
I have an organization.
Hmm.
My organization name is ABC.
Hmm.
My company is a startup. I have
Hmm.
only 10 members and
Hmm.
there are no departments over there, right?
Hmm.
If I'm using the IP, I want that all my network, or that is my computers or laptops or whatever it may be, should be networked, right?
Hmm.
So if I am having 10 IPs or 10 laptops which should be networked, I will be using any one this categorization, class A, class B, class C, right? And I
Hmm.
will create that many number of IP addresses to have all my machines networked. Okay.
Right.
Suppose I am using this class A kind of
Hmm.
IPs over here for my organization where I have only 10 members, right? So if I'm
10
using,
hosts, right?
yeah, 10 hosts, you can say, right?
Okay.
Now, within this host, if I have created this many this IPs, means
Hmm.
I can create my host up till these numbers,
Hmm. Right.
but I am using only 10 numbers, right?
Okay. So
So,
for a small organization, we don't need classes.
yeah, so then what will, yeah, we don't need classes that we will see in the subnetting. So what I will
Hmm.
do is, in short, if I'm only using these 10 addresses or 10 hosts over here, so this one 2,99,000 or 97,140
140 IP addresses
addresses
are wasted.
or the host are
Get
wastage
wasted.
over here,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So what I will do is I will be breaking down this huge number of networks into small packets, right? So
Hmm.
that I will be only be able to use that much numbers, which is always or which is useful to me, or I require that many number of numbers, right? So for other numbers, then what I will do, I will be allowing these many other IP addresses to be actually passed on to some other guys, right? So that they can use it, right? So I'm not making a wastage over here, right? Again, then if anybody is asking or within the CCNA, if there is a question asked, what is subnetting? So you will not write that other folks are can be using or so. So the technical
Hmm.
definition will say that is breaking of the huge number of hosts or rooms, right,
Hmm.
in small packages so that there is an correct use of the resources, right, within an
Hmm.
organization, and we are able to what we are doing over here, save, right, save
Save
that
the IP address,
number
save
of
the host.
high number of traffic, that is called
Hmm.
as subnetting, right?
Yes.
Clear?
So in case if I have to add more IPs, so we have to change the whole network.
No, no, no,
I
no,
want to.
no, no, no. You will not change the network over here. You will just
Hmm.
assign these IP addresses like this, right? And you can
But
create
currently
this
we are
number of hosts.
using 10 IP addresses, no?
Huh?
Currently we are using only 10 IP addresses.
No.
So in future, if I
For
want to
that, no,
add
no.
more 100.
For that, what I'm doing is I am actually breaking this into different subnets. Subnets I'm
Hmm.
breaking over here, right?
Okay.
So if I want to add more, then I will just
Hmm.
go ahead and then borrow. This is what we are going to see. Borrow the number
Okay.
of bits where I can
Hmm.
create more number of IP addresses. right? This is what we will see. There is again the whole process which we will see, and that is called as, in short, subnetting. Okay.
Okay.
And that is again called as classless IP segregation. So we will not be using classes. We will be using classless segregation of IP, and that is called as again subnetting, right?
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So now, before moving to subnetting, I will ask, there are few questions that I thought to again take this up. Can you tell me, is this valid?
Mm, no,
And why so?
because the second octet is different. The gateway address and the IP address should be same.
Correct. Correct. Even though this is same, but this is different, right?
Yes.
So this at both IP addresses or the gateway and the IP
Invalid.
addresses should be same, right?
Yes.
If they are not same, so these are invalid. We will
Valid.
not be able to connect within the
Assign.
network,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I will give you, and again, another scenario. Tell me, you tell me. Is this valid?
No,
And why so?
because we have only 0 to 255.
0 to
315 is
25.
not.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
we
this,
cannot assign till
yeah.
above 255.
So this is not allowed over here. This is not a
Hmm.
valid host, right? So
Yes.
that is why this, and these type of questions are asked in CCNA,
Okay.
right? Thought to actually show you how we can actually answer it out. Now, if I have
Yes.
this type of IP addresses, my valid IP addresses will be 133.123.0.0 starting, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then valid IP addresses will be 0.1 till 255 and 254, right? Why? Because the host will always be -1 because it starts from 0 to 1, right? 0 to 254. So it will be -1, right? And the broadcast address will be this one. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the way we actually have the valid IP addresses. Okay. Okay. Great. So now let me actually bring the next topic, that is the types of addresses we have. So just a minute. Okay. So class A, if I have, and this is the IP addresses, I can create how many IP addresses? That is 16. This is how much? 16 lakhs, 77,000. No, it is more than 16 lakhs, right? So these many IP addresses can be created, right? Now, how this calculation is done, we will also see that. Class B, if this is the IP addresses, these many IP addresses can be created. So class C, if this IP address or this many IP addresses can be created. How the calculation is done? What is the formula for this? So in class A, the first octet 8 defines the network address, right? And the remaining 24 bits, 3 octets defines the host, right? Because you know, this differentiates from like this one, right?
Yes.
So
2 raised to power 20,
yeah.
24.
So here in the class A we are talking about, right? Now, if that is the case, then what it will be? It will be how much? 3 octets are there. 1, 2, 3. Right? So it will be 2 raised to 24. Right? And if it is 2 raised to 24, these many IP addresses can be created. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then class B, if I am doing this one, so here also you can see it will be 2 raised to 16. So I have explained this how 2 raised to 16, whatever this one, the calculation
2
comes,
raised
this
to
is
16
about
minus 2.
104 something something, whatever it is, right? And then in class C, 2 raised to 8, right? So that will be 6555536 IP addresses can be created, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is the class C which we have. IP address is 192.168 and then it is 100.2.5, right? So if this is the case, let me take my pen. Design, it will be in the design. Draw, yeah, within the draw. Right? So this is the IP address I have and this is the subnet task I have. So what I want to do is I want to create a subnet, right? So that I can actually differentiate my IP addresses to a proper network. So if I go over here in the class C, we have already seen how many IP addresses I can create, right? So, but again, subnetting, if I am taking subnetting, then it is what? It is a classless subnetting, right? So we will see how to create a subnetting over here, right? Now, we know that the IP addresses are converted into this binary form that we know, right? And how many hosts can be created? 254. Why? 2 raised to 8. That is 202 raised to 8 minus 2. And 254 hosts can be created. Right? Clear?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I am actually creating what? The subnetting. Right? So if that subnetting, if I am creating, then what I will do over here, I will borrow I1 over here. As I said, right, the technique for borrowing. So if I borrow the one over here within the host, so then what I can do is I can actually segregate, right, these into two parts. Segregate the whole network into two parts. Why two parts? Because from here I can segregate till here, right? So, okay, let me show this one. Yes, if I am borrowing the bits 1, right, the masked value should be 128. How many subnets I can create? I can create 2 subnets, right? Over here you can see I am able to create 2 subnets over here, right?
Okay.
So if I am creating this 2 subnets, so what is this to 128 is what? 128 is called as what? That is the block size, right? Clear? Okay. If the block
Yes.
size is 128 over here, right? So then what will be the IP addresses over here? Network IP address will start from what? 0 till 128, right? Because here I am saying 128 over here. Block size I am giving is 128. Understand this, right? Clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. If that is the case, then how many hosts I can create? 2 raised to 7.
2
Why
raised to
7?
7.
Why
7
7?
zeros.
7 zeros are there. So 126 hosts can be created, right? Now I need to actually come back, and what will be my broadcast ID? Broadcast IPs will be, so if it is 128 over here, it is always one less. That will be 127.
127.
And the second broadcast IP will be till 255. So I cannot go beyond 255. So my broadcast IP will be 255. Okay. So this is the way you will actually go and have the blueprint of network IP addresses using the subnet. Now you were asking me a question, if I want to assign more, so you can
More, yes.
assign more like this one. So, so 0 to 128 and 128 to again 256. 256 cannot be done, right? So 0 to 128, right? So if you want more, then I have to borrow again 1 over here. And I can assign more and more IPs. How? I will show you the table over here. See, if I'm borrowing 1 bit, it is 128. Why 128? 128 is at the block which we have already seen earlier, right? Okay. And if I'm borrowing 2 bits, so 128 plus 64, that is what? 192, right? So here, if it is 192, how many subnets I can create? 4. Okay. And how many hosts I can create? 62. Right? So this is 25. 25 from where? Where did I get 25? This is the 25. This is 24 and plus 1, that is 25. Right? So in subnet, whenever I am actually breaking these subnets, see here, if I'm using if I'm using this type of IP addresses and connecting, right, I was only able to, or if I'm having only one, okay, if there are only 2 guys over here, right, one guy is on leave, right, and I'm actually taking and assigning the IP addresses over here, okay, so I have done this IP addresses over here, but one IP address is of no use, right? So then I will go with the subnetting, and within the subnetting, I can assign more and more. So this way, I am actually able to segregate all the network properly from one end to another end. Is this clear?
No.
Huh?
No. Please repeat from the when we want to add the IPs. I didn't got from that. Before that, I got all this.
So now, what is our main task to do over here? This is our IP addresses. 192.100.125, and this is our IP addresses, right? So if this is the IP address, right? How many subnets I can create for this IP address? This is the requirement. Okay. Let not go to the other complications over here, right? So my ask is, this is my IP address. This is my IP address. This is my host. This is my subnet task. Right? How many subnets can I create so that the network, right, or there is no loss of network IPs, right? How many subnets I can create so there is no loss of networking or huge traffic, which we already discussed earlier, right? So here if this is the case, then I will go with again the classless approach. Understand that, right? Earlier, if I'm going with the class approach, then the CIDR is /24.
24, right?
If I'm going with the subnet and it is a classless, I need to borrow one from here. If I'm borrowing one from here, so this is at the block 128. Right?
Yes.
So how many IP addresses or network IDs I can create? 2. Why? Because I will
2 raised
be,
to 7 minus
yeah.
2.
So because I will be adding my network IP address to 127, right? And actually it should be 127, right? So it should be 14, 5 and 4. But I can also use 254 also. Why? Because beyond, there is no IP address beyond 254, 255, right? I can also use 254 or I can also use 255, that is the host address. Up to me. Clear? So two network IPs can be created, that is 0, this one, and the next one is 0, right? Broadcast IP will be what? -1, 128 minus 1, that is 127, right?
Yes.
Okay. And another one will be 255, right? As I said, 255. Clear? Because why 255 I am using? Because I cannot use beyond 255. So I'm just taking a figure like 255 and then I'm stopping over there. That's it. Right? Now, if I am going with this one, this slash or the CDR becomes how much? /25.
25.
Right? Now clear?
Yes.
Absolutely clear, right?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Right.
This is again /25, /25, /25. Right? Let us take another example. Okay? So that it becomes more clear over here. So this is what it is, IP address 192.168.225, and this is the subnet mask 192 whatever it is, right? And this is what is the IP addresses over here. Right? Okay. Now, as I said, 2555, and here subnet mask is 192. Okay. So let's go to the table. Okay. If it is 192, I can borrow how many bits?
2.
2 bits. So I will do the same thing over here, right? Where it is gone. Okay. Yeah, I will borrow 2 bits over here. If I am borrowing 2 bits over here, how many subnets I can create?
2
4.
raised to power. Yeah, 4. Sorry.
4 I can
4
create.
subnets.
And then how
So
many hosts I can create over here?
2 raised to power 6 minus 2.
2 raised to power 6 and -2. That will
Minus
be
2.
how much? That will be how much? 2 raised to 2, 2, 4, 5, and 6. 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8, 8 to the 16, 16 to the 32, and 64. 64 minus 2,
120.
that will be 62. Right? So if I'm saying 62 over here, so let us come back to the table. Right? 62 hosts can be created. Right? What is the CIDR?